All right, Daniel and Emery here on the Truck Insurance channel today. Going to do some video reactions of
TikToks.
TikTok.
It's basically everybody's news network, so we might as well see what they're saying.
Okay. So let's load up the first one here. If y'all like this, of course, like and subscribe to the channel. But if y'all want to see more of these, send some links to videos you want us to review. Be happy to do them.
Hey, Mike here from Trucking Insurance Network. I'm going to start going over some trucking insurance hacks that are going to save you some money on your insurance. Hack 1, crank that deductible all the way up as high as it can go. I see a lot of people, they'll think that, it's a good idea to have $1,000 deductible or something like that. Look, if you get into an accident with your truck, the last thing you're going to be worried about is $1,000, okay?
All right, hold on.
You get in an accident, call.
Let's pause. I mean, he's not wrong, but like, what happens?
I don't know if he's saying crank the deductible, meaning like 1,000's low, or if
Yeah.
he's saying like 1,000's like.
Yeah, he's saying crank it up, like 2,500, 5,000, 10,000, whatever.
Because every policy
He's
I've wrote, and they ask for 5,000, I say I'll tell you how much you're saving, but before going from 2,500 to 5,000,
yeah.
and they save like $100.
Yeah, they don't save a ton. The other thing is, what if you have a lender? The lenders always have requirements on this. Mm-hmm. So like you could put it at 2,500, 5,000. I mean, dude, there's some policies that have $20,000 deductibles, and like bucket deductibles if you have multiple units, like lots of trucks. But you might have a lender that's like, well, you can't have a deductible higher than 1,000 or 2,500. So like that's cool if you want to save a smidge of money, but
it's a very little amount. They are never saving $5,000 by putting it at $5,000 deductible.
No. Yeah, it's fractional. Yeah, and you got to worry about your lender requirements if you've got a loan on it. Mm-hmm. All right, let's see what other hacks he's got. I mean, but depends on your finances. Like as long as you have that money set aside, then you're fine. The other thing to consider here is like, how does it actually play out in the claim situation? Like you total your truck, it's your fault. That's a physical damage, collision claim, right? If it's a $50,000 truck, then you're going to get $45,000, like a check for $45K. If you have a $5,000 deductible, they just deduct it from whatever your payout would be. That's how that would work. So you're just going to get less money for the next truck. So he's not completely wrong if it saves you a ton of money, but most of the time it's not going to save you a ton of money.
Well, and sometimes if it's like a bad hood, like they mess up their hood, they'll just pay that out of pocket anyway, so they don't have to worry about the deductible.
Yeah.
So sometimes it does make sense.
Yeah, you got to assess your financial situation. Like, what can you recover from?
Cause $500,000 worth of damage, or maybe $200,000 worth of property damage, and injure someone. You got to, pay $200,000 more in medical bills. $1,000 again, least of your worry. Crank that deductible all the way up, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000. Shit, if they'll do $10,000, do that. What you're going to do is end up saving on.
He's talking about deductibles on auto liability.
Yeah.
We don't really do those. Like there are some policies out there that you can have a deductible on auto liability, but that's normally for fleets with 10, 20 plus trucks. So for anyone watching this that's getting started, that's not an option until you have a decent sized small fleet. There's just no insurance companies that allow that. And the ones that do will go through your bank records and tax records, everything. They want to prove that you have cash sitting around.
Your annual trucking insurance costs. And then if you do get into an accident, you'll figure out a way to scrape that money up. Again, hack 1, crank that deductible up as high as your insurance carrier will let you go.
He's saying crank it up, you'll figure it out. I mean, I guess that's not wrong. I mean,
oh man.
But a lot of the new ventures, like they're starting a brand new business, they don't have a ton of cash sitting around.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just bought a truck. They just bought a trailer, some cases.
Yeah.
They just paid a deductible or the down payment on the policy.
Yeah. Down payment on equipment, down payment on policy, all the other stuff to get started. Yeah. I mean, if you have a stack of cash and you can get to one of those policies, that's the other thing though. Like no insurance company that's writing a one truck policy is going to offer auto liability deductibles. And if they did, it's like a couple of states across the US where you have that as an option, and the deductibles don't go up that high. Yeah.
Few
Next
people have been
one.
reaching out to me. They've been asking me, how do you start your own trucking company? I'll give you a list of things you'll need to get registered. You'll need to register for your LLC, your EIN, and your MC and USDOT number. Next, you'll need to get your BOC3, and then you'll want to get commercial truck insurance on your truck.
Hey, we can help with that.
You'll then want to get your IFTA account and your IRP account and highway use tax permits for New York, New Mexico, Oregon, and Kentucky.
That all depends on your equipment, right? Like the type of truck you're getting. That's all like Class 8, or well, anything over 26,000 pounds, you got to have IFTA and IRP. If you're under 26,000 pounds, like box trucks and smaller, then you don't have to. If you're doing hot shots and you're running CDL, then yes, you have to have IFTA and IRP. That sucks. It's a pain, but gives you more, gives you access to more loads if you're in the hot shot space. The permits he's talking about, some of them are weight dependent. I think they're all weight dependent. And it depends if you're never going to go in New York, you don't need a New York permit. The HUT, the highway use tax, just depends on your situation, but he's not wrong.
You also want to get a drug and alcohol consortium. I've created a
Again, that's only for CDL. If you're not CDL, you don't have to join a drug and alcohol consortium and do the testing. And if you're flying solo, you're owner operator with your own authority, you still have to do all the driver qualification stuff you would need for compliance as if you were hiring someone. So you have to hire yourself. You need to do drug testing, all that, everything for yourself.
free spreadsheet with the links you'll need when registering for your trucking company. Link is in my bio.
That's nice. I always love the resources. Speaking of resources, check out the links down in the description below. There's tons of good stuff in there. If you need help with quotes on insurance, we do that. We do it fast. And if it's possible to get any cheaper than the quotes you get anywhere else, we can do it. All right. What else?
One thing I kind of why I chose this video is because the order of everything that you need to do it matters a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a lot of guys coming to me before they have their LLC and they're like, I need quotes. But one thing,
not a bad idea.
You can get the quotes. They're not going to be accurate if you don't have your LLC or business.
We can get them pretty accurate, but no, they're not going to be.
Right. But
be
the order of things, people kind of focus on certain things at the wrong position. And they intend to buy that policy without the business too.
Yeah.
And they think they have to have their policy before they apply for their MC and DOT.
Definitely not.
Definitely don't have to do that.
Don't want to do. That's not a good idea. If you're getting started, you want to buy your policy, make it effective as close to that 21-day waiting period as possible. What else did he talk about? The order of things can be different. Everyone, we get people all the time that are at different places in the process. Like the BOC3, you could also wait closer to the 21st day. You could just get that done. Get that done as soon as you apply, or within a couple days of applying. The only reason I would say hold up is if you plan on changing addresses. So people mix up the addresses a lot, and that's something you need to make sure you have straight. Plan on doing a video about that next. I'll link it below. But making sure you have addresses right is important. And if you did change anything with your addresses, you have to update your BOC3, and they're going to charge you again for that. Let's do another video here.
The non-CDL trailers I've been using for hotshot trucking and transport since 2021. First is my 30-foot gooseneck trailer with mega ramps on it, although I started with an 18-foot trailer. Next is the 36-foot Texas Pride to car hauler that I use for auto loads and moving different bikes.
I wonder how long he made it with the 18-foot trailer before he realized he needed something
Probably
bigger.
not very long.
Man.
Along with the 24-foot deck over trailer beside it. Just a bumper pull with a flat deck that's 102 inches wide and can move most of my loads. Another one is my 22-foot car hauler that I've used for cargo and auto loads. I use this trailer and my gooseneck the most. Put a 12,000 pounds winch on your trailer and you will have more chances to haul vehicles. Last but not least, one of the 18-foot trailers I started my hotshot company with and still use to transport with.
So what's your opinion on bumper pull versus gooseneck?
I mean, more trailer space, more freight options, right? More opportunity for loads. So that's like it's a direct correlation. If you got more room, you got more opportunity. If you have less room, you hopefully you know some people, right? That like need consistent stuff moved with whatever you got being adequate, right? From an insurance perspective, you can have as many trailers on a policy as you want, you know, within limitations of an insurance company, which is like, that's fine. Each one of these is valued at something, you know, that some of these might be cheaper. Some of them might be 20, 30 grand. The more you put on the policy, the more it's going to cost. It's not like you have one trailer and then it just covers everything for each additional trailer. No, each one's got an associated value. There's risk related to that, you know, theft, damage, weather, whatever. So that is going to make it go up. It's just like adding additional trucks. It's going to make it go up. And it is a little peculiar. You have that many trailers if you only have one truck, but you know, to each their own. They have different purposes. If you have multiple trucks, multiple trailers, you kind of want 1-to-1 ratios on everything. One truck, one driver, one trailer. If you have multiple trailers, it's not necessarily an issue. But when the ratio of trucks to drivers varies, like if it's not 1-to-1, that's questionable as far as underwriting goes. And we don't ever want to spook underwriting. Okay, so next video, let's find one more.
Want to know what I do? So what I do is I drive a non-CDL box truck. Under 26,000 pounds, you don't need a license. So everything I do is non-CDL.
You need a driver's license, just not a CDL. Man, don't try to haul anything without a driver's license, period.
I book my loads off the load board. I've been doing it that way for the past years. The load board I use is DAT. What I teach people how to gross is 5,000 a week. Now, my best week was 12,500. I had a lot of $10,000 plus weeks, but I'm not sitting here trying to promote my best weeks. I know that I can teach you how to make 5,000 every week. Now, some weeks you might have 3, 4, and then the next week you might have 8, 9. It's about averaging at 5. And that's what I do, y'all. It's not as easy as I make it look. Took a while to get here. Went through a lot of trials and tribulations. I've been scammed multiple times. I've been left hanging. I slept.
And we found that most people, the first 90 days is the hardest, right? Like we see the most policy cancellations in the first 90 days because people go out of business. But man, if you can survive the first 90 days, have a really solid plan to get started, and then like not give up. Like he's talked about getting scammed. Everyone is going to get scammed. You're going to find some double brokering. You're going to find like all kinds of stuff. It's stressful. Transportation, logistics, it's tough. So like there is a lot of fraud. There are a lot of scams going on. And so you got to be careful. You got to be really careful. If it's too good to be true, it's definitely a fraud. It's definitely a scam.
A lot of times I ask everybody, like, if it's a new venture, I ask them, where are you going to be getting your loads from? Do you have any kind of idea in mind? Like what do you suggest to do prior to like even getting your authority active? Like, is there any kind of planning that you can actually do?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's talking about load boards, right? So like DAT, once your authority is active, you can get set up on there. Same with Truck Stop. There's some other load boards, but those are like the two main ones that pretty much everyone uses. You know, there's other ways to get loads from direct shippers. I tell people about this one guy, this one customer we had. He went from dock to dock at some industrial areas around Charlotte and found a warehouse manager and then got direct shipments because he didn't have a smartphone. He didn't know how to use a laptop, and he got a brand new box truck and was like, yeah, I want to start my own authority and I'm going to go find freight. And I was like, oh my God. All right. And then like 2 weeks later, he calls me. He's like, hey, can you help me like figure out what I should charge this guy for these lanes? And 5 days a week going back and forth. Yeah, going back and forth to Atlanta 5 days a week. And yeah, still running solid 4.5 years later. Yeah.
That's one way, door to door.
Yeah, door to door, like literally door knocking, warehouse knocking.
I'm sure load boards are a lot easier.
Yeah, load boards is the main thing. Going to trucking association meetings, conferences, literally cold calling shippers, whatever you can do to find people. It's all out there. You just got to get it.
slept in the truck a year straight. And that's why I mentor people and give out a lot of game, you know, so y'all can have an easy journey, so y'all don't have to go through what I went through. And that's what I do. You know, I want 100K.
I don't think anybody's journey is necessarily easy, but it is good. You know, like there is a lot of good information out there. All right,
I do agree. Like having a good resource, like when you first start, can help a lot of like our guys and anybody trying to get into it avoid a lot of like simple mistakes that probably a lot of people make when they first start out.
Yeah.
Starting a trucking company and you're wondering, should I be an owner operator or should I become a fleet owner? There's many different things to look at in this example when considering one of the two. And really what it comes down to is, are you wanting to be the one out on the road, also wearing the many different hats of being a one-man show? Or
he said, you want to be a fleet owner? Yeah, just don't jump straight into 10 trucks if you've never done this before. I assume he's talking about your own authority.
I don't know anyone that's gone from like 0 to 10. Most insurance companies aren't even going to let you do that.
Unless you buy a company.
Yeah. If you're going to buy a company.
Not as common.
Or if you do have a giant stack of cash somewhere and you want to just buy a bunch of trucks and start hiring drivers, that's going to be extremely difficult because the insurance companies want to see history, like especially inspection history, before they let you get to a certain number of trucks on a policy. Or, you know, you could start a policy, start adding trucks and then get canceled, right? And there's no Progressive is the most common one where people will get started, start adding trucks, and all of a sudden you get a letter and it's like, oh, too risky, we don't want it. And there's no preset on that, right? Or there's an algorithm, but they're not going to tell you like you can add this many trucks over this period of time. So, and once they decide that they're not going to cover you anymore, that's it. And if depending on what state you're in, depending on your setup, inspection history, everything else, your drivers, your equipment, you might have 0 other options outside of Progressive in your first 1 to 3 years in business. So you got to be careful. You want to be strategic, and you want to work with someone like us who can help guide you through that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or would you prefer the responsibility of the larger investment? Because obviously having multiple trucks, the one taking all the risks, the one doing all the hiring and training. And when it comes down to it, on the fleet side of things, you're just multiplying things for the ability to maybe be in an office or stay at home. And so it's really looking at the pros and the cons of each, measuring both of those out to see what best fits your wants, your needs, and of course the responsibility you want to take on.
All right. He mentioned like wearing many hats as an owner operator, having your own authority, right? There's owner operator, like being an owner operator, you could be leased on to an MC as an owner operator, or you could go out and have your own authority. You're just doing everything on your own. You don't hire anyone. You have your truck, all that. That's one thing I just want to mention. Like people are driving for somebody else. They're a leased on owner operator. So they have their truck. That's kind of like the next step is get your authority. But if you're considering not like which path to take, that is something to really consider. Is you've got to be your accountant. You've got to be your dispatcher or hire a dispatcher. Hire a lot of dispatchers is probably what's going to happen because you'll fire a lot of them. You literally like your maintenance guy, your safety guy, like all of that. Those are the different hats you're going to wear, and you don't get to just drive, right? That's one thing. Like, and it's one thing to really consider is you're a business owner, not just a truck driver.
One thing I've heard a lot of people say, like advice for anybody starting out, is lease on first, no matter what, and then go out on your own.
Yeah,
you think that's better?
Go company driver, find a lease on with the truck type of deal. Some companies will lease you the truck to lease onto their. There's a bunch of different setups for this, the different structures.
Do you think that's better, just so they can get like an idea of how everything works before diving into wearing all those hats?
Yeah, especially for new CDLs too. If it's almost. It's not impossible. It's just normally really expensive. If you just got your CDL and you want to go out on your own, it's going to be pricey. I've seen some crazy numbers. It's normally always better to go get at least 2 years under your belt with a new CDL before you go out on your own. But no, having experience like incrementally, yeah, it's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Because there's a lot that's going to be thrown your way when you go out on your own completely. A lot of unexpected stuff. I think we got 2 more to watch.
$16,867 was going to cost me to insure my end up for this upcoming year. This month I had to renew my insurance policy. This is my 3rd year in business, the 3rd year with this policy. It went up $500 from the previous policy. For that price, I get $500,000 in coverage. This will be my 3rd year with this company, my 3rd year in business, and it's going to be almost my 4th year next month with my CDL. I'm also 24 years old, so if you wonder how much it costs to insure one of them things, that'll give you a rough estimate.
He said an end dump, so he's probably not crossing state lines or anything. He's definitely not.
Not with 500.
Yeah, he's got 500K limit on his auto liability.
Yes.
13K for that. It's a little pricey.
Kind of a lot.
Kind of a lot for an end dump. I don't know what the value of the end dump trailer is, the truck. Like, there's a lot of unknowns, but he said he's 24. So 23 is normally the like going from 23 or 24. One of the two is like where rates start to really dip. Like it's not near as expensive if you're 24 and up, right? And then like it's tiered. And I'm mostly talking about Progressive here because that's, if you're in this scenario, that's probably where you're at. And he said he's had this policy for 3 years, so since he was 21. Yeah. And it only went up $500 year over year. That's not too bad. You will see renewals that go up, down for literally no reason. Like you have nothing on your MVR, you've had no claims, nothing, and the rate still goes up. That's because wherever you live, they had to do rate increases because of everyone else that gets accidents and claims. That's just how it works in insurance. So there's always ways to get like discounts. Well, with most insurance companies. So if you can increase your discounts, that's good. Like Progressive,
if you've got a good agent, they could be handling all those discounts for you.
Yeah, coaching you on it anyways.
Yeah.
But like if there's some insurance companies do ELD discounts where you share your ELD data, they take a look at that. There's normally like a period they're looking at, not the whole time. No one's sitting in front of a computer watching you drive all the time. That wouldn't make sense. So don't worry about that. But you know, if you're driving like crazy, your discount's not going to be great, if any. If you do drive really good, or at least according to what they think is good, then yeah, you can see some serious discounts. Like the new thing with the dash cams on Progressive, it peaks out at like 30% discount.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus they do some subsidy on the
And a lot of people, they're worried about getting into a contract for an ELD or something, but oftentimes they're saving, because of the discount, they're saving so much more money than it costs to sign up for a year with whatever Motive, who's the most common one.
Yeah, get Motive.
Get Motive.
Motive's the best, especially starting out. More insurance companies work with Motive than anyone else when it comes to the discounts. And it's nice. It's nice. They got some good deals. Links below. All right, let's watch one more.
Insurance. Your very first year, nobody else is going to take it but Progressive. Simple as that. Now, with that being said, you need 2 types of insurance, cargo and damage. Now, some companies are different. If you're hauling cars and you're hauling freight, they're going to charge you differently accordingly.
Wait. He said you need cargo and damage. What kind of damage are we talking about?
Physical damage, maybe?
Cargo is pretty, like you could say cargo and it means cargo, right? But you need auto liability.
Yes.
You need cargo. You might need physical damage on your truck and your trailer. That's common collision, like in case it's your fault, right? Or if you like hit a deer, that's comprehensive. Hail damage, that's comprehensive. You slam into the back of someone, that's collision, that's your fault, yeah. But auto liability is a hard requirement. Cargo is going to be a requirement.
If you own your truck, damage is not a requirement.
Physical damage.
Physical damage.
You might need general liability. There might be other coverages you need, but let's keep watching.
That's why you'll never see a car in the back of our trailers. Our car insurance boosts it up by a lot. Past 3 years for us, man, we have never done cars because
car hauling. He means like auto hauling. You'll never see a car on my trailer.
Oh, because
auto hauling.
Auto hauling can be more expensive than like regular general freight, right? And it looks like flatbed stuff. Yeah, we're talking about hot shots here. So yeah, some people do a little mix where they're doing general freight, you know, part of the season, or like seasonally they might do auto hauling like around tax time. Everybody's out buying cars. that's okay. And you can add autos to your policy and remove them, at least most insurance companies. It's also something you should be changing on the FMCSA at the same time. You got to be careful with that. And if your agent doesn't know about federal filings and FMCSA stuff, you got the wrong agent. So call Emery.
Yeah, there we go.
Freight is honestly just a cheaper insurance. But don't let my decision be your decision. I know a lot of guys in the car hauling game are doing really good. Don't mind me. Do you? All right, so with that being said, keep your truck in DOT compliance. What is DOT compliance, you ask? That means your tires are up to date. All of your lights work. All of your brakes work, etc. DOT loves to target me. You see my truck? They love to target me.
That's not false at all. If you're in hot shots, you're a target, no matter what. I don't care what anyone says. The barrier to entry, like entering into trucking, starting your own authority, all that, is a little bit lower for hot shots. You know, I say that with a grain of salt. These DOT officers, roadside inspections, like they're going to go harder on you. And as soon as you fail one and they pull your DOT number the next time they've got you pulled over, they're going to go harder. They want you to keep failing because their job is to weed out carriers that are not compliant. Mm-hmm. So always be compliant. Like, don't ever say, oh, I'll get it later. Like, get it now. Whatever it is. A light.
Insurance will be cheaper too.
A new tire. Like, yeah. And that's, yeah. So here's the problem with inspections and insurance. You fail an inspection. Who cares? Like, who cares? Like, you get to keep going on down the road making money. It's not going to hurt you today. It's going to hurt you come renewal. So if you fail one inspection, then you're 100% out of service, like as far as your scoring goes. Mm-hmm. That comes down with time. Everything sticks for 2 years, and then it's weighted less as time progresses. But underwriters love to look at this, and it's not always a matter of will your insurance go up. It becomes a matter of will I be eligible for this insurance company or any others. So it's not even like, can you stay in business because the rates go up? It's, can you stay in business because you're uninsurable? You don't want to get to that. So make sure you're always passing inspections. And if you do fail an inspection, like, go out of your way to try and get more inspections that you know you're going to pass. That is so important. And you can't wait around till month 11 and your policy renews in 30 days. You got to stay on top of that. It's one of the biggest reasons we see people go out of business after 3 months. Mm-hmm. Like, if you make it through that first 3 months, because that's the hardest, the next biggest reason people go out of business is inspections at renewal, like what happens to your insurance renewal, and the new entrant audit. A lot of people fail the new entrant audit. It's not that big a deal. It's like the easiest audit you'll ever have. If you need help with that, give us a call.
So they're going to target you too. But that's for a whole nother different video. We're going to get back to that another day. Appreciate y'all for watching. That's how much insurance costs.
Anything else you want to share?
No, I think there's actually a lot of good information in a lot of that.
Yeah.
Which I'm surprised. TikTok's usually the source of everything horrible, but these guys,
we get a lot of misinformation, and I don't think anyone's trying to do anything ill will necessarily, but you know, it's like playing telephone. You know, the first person gets the original message, and then 10 people later get something that doesn't even sound. It's not even the same topic, mm-hmm. right? So that happens a lot. I call it the Truck Stop News Network. We get the craziest questions and calls and things I heard from a friend or whatever, and we're just here to try and help, not put anyone down or anything. Just want to make sure people get the right info, because
I just don't like that people watch some of these videos and they're like, oh, I'm going to copy exactly what that does. I'll pay the exact same thing, because everybody's different.
Everybody's situation is entirely different. There's so many factors that go into it. It's not like we just go grab a policy off the shelf in the stock room or something. Like, everything about you is unique, right? When it comes to insurance, most insurance companies and their like actuarial models have over 400 data points, right? And some of that you can control, most of it you can't. So you got to work with what you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, that's great. Check out the links below again, like and subscribe. Let us know if you come across any other videos you'd like us to react and comment on.
Absolutely.
This is fun. Yeah, we'll do some more.